Onto the Bad Batch, though.
Yes, double episode. Stacked week.
Hurry.
Daddy's back.
This show's gonna mess me up. Yeah, you got your wish. We got some Rex.
Rex has returned. And we got so many clones of Rex. It made me so happy
Yeah.
having all these different clones.
Yeah. It's this show's gonna pack some emotional punches towards the end.
I stand by my prediction last week. There's going to be multiple deaths.
Yeah. I'm amazed there was no serious injuries to any like proper characters this week.
There's so many things happen this episode, but like, I mean, the internet is now also on the same wavelength as me with my theory of Tech is not dead.
Yeah.
Tech is an assassin clone.
One of these shadow trooper
Yeah.
dons.
I like how whether they hadn't really set, or if they'd been actually purposefully laying the groundwork for that, the first one we saw, and we're like, my brain was like, is this Tech? Is this why we're now getting a focus on this clone? And then obviously we get Rex defect, like Rex being absolute Captain America and jumping on a grenade and throwing it back, and then all that goes down, and they capture this guy, and it's just a clone. And I was like, damn, it's not Tech.
Yeah.
Then we get the new one. There's so many things that lean to this being Tech in so many ways. And I'm convinced. And if it's not, and they've like hinted whether it was intentional or not, and then if this turns out it's not Tech, I'm going to be so pissed because as much as it will pain me, I want this turmoil of like, they have to deal with the fact that this is Tech.
Yeah, it would be very, very interesting, even if it is just so heartbreaking.
There's a few different things people picked up on. One being the fact that he was so obsessed with trying to use his like technology on his armor. He was very reliant on that keypad and what he can do with his ship.
Just wanted to call in his stratagems.
When Crosshair's scoping on him with the heat, with the thermal scope.
No legs.
Yes. People say, I don't know if this is just, it could be it's just the way that it was colored, so it didn't, but it's very convenient that the bottom half of his legs weren't hot, which would mean prosthetics, which would probably happen to someone that had a huge fall and broke their legs. Also, he wasn't following orders, and Tech's final words were, "We've never been good at following orders."
It's not easy.
And we got the information that these guys get reconditioned, and they're not the same when they come out the other side.
Yeah.
Also, we learned that Crosshair was attempted to do that to him, which I think that's probably where his shakes came from.
Yeah, he's traumatized as fuck from it.
Well, yeah, whatever it's done to him. I really think Crosshair's going to die.
I think it's going to be a sacrifice to save Omega. If they kill him for nothing, I'm going to be a bit annoyed.
No, I think it's this like today, like this double episode. There were so many instances where he's like, makes everyone else go ahead so he can like deal, and he's putting himself in danger for the situations, but also using it as a way to stay at the back, basically hide his shakes and hide that he's struggling, which is then putting him in more danger because he's not actually good at his shots at the moment. And it's like, he's trying to prove himself so hard to the group and going full dad mode.
Yeah.
That it's like, he's so close to just like, it's going to be one too many times and he's not going to get away with it.
I completely agree. It's, we're gonna, I mean, we reminded ourselves coming into this about Rogue One and stuff like that. Like, these characters don't exist later in canon. Dave Filoni is very well aware when stuff like characters like this exist, it creates a problem. What's the easiest way to deal with a problem? Kill them. So I kind of view it as that every character that gets out alive is a W,
I
more than
mean,
every character that dies is an L.
yeah. I mean, out of the characters we saw this week, 3 of them we know survive. They are not yet bunking together. But the fact that I love the fact that we got Rex, there was the mention of Gregor early on, and I was like, oh my God, Gregor. And then obviously he shows up right at the end, and there's a shot where there's like Wolf facing, like, obviously is on that line of not sure what's right and wrong at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously going to turn. We know he turns because little does Wolf know, but he's going to be bunking with Rex and Gregor in the future. The fact that there was like the 3 of them in that episode, but it's not quite the time for them to be a trio. It's
Do you know
just...
what it is? It reminds me of that the bit from Back to the Future. It's like, you're not ready for that yet, but your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, it's just I liked how we saw that Wolf's on this like line of still kind of being a good soldier, but is realizing that it's not right. Which we did see in Rebels, because obviously he contacted the Empire about the ghost.
Yeah.
And like still played that line all the way to the end in a way.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good to see that he is like questioning the what's right and what's wrong, and we're seeing this like... But something as well with Wolf, which made me something I hadn't really considered, but all those like the clones that knew Rex from obviously the Clone Wars series and like were more main characters have clearly all thought Rex was just dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so sad to think about that. Like his other like squad mates and brothers all just presumed he was dead. And like the realization of that must have been like, hang on a second, I've been lied to this whole time. Like our commander is alive.
It's definitely going to be an interesting one. And I'm really, really, really curious to just see how all these threads come together. We've been very clear, you're more of a Star Wars nerd than me, so I get to just kind of experience these shows and not worry about it too much.
Yeah.
I am really compelled to see where these characters go from here, and I cannot wait to see how much further we can go.
It's all going to come to them going to Tantus, or whatever it's called. And I think something's going to go down on that base. That kind of sets these characters' futures up are those that make it out.
Yeah.
Something I will say as well, though, that assassin ship is so sexy. And obviously, like, I don't think we've ever seen that ship before. And I'm like, why have we not seen this more? I also loved how the amount of like Sith signaling that was going on with that ship and all the red lights, and the fact the assassin clones use red lasers, very much leaning into this idea that Sith and Vader, and this is the future of what the Empire is going to be.
Yeah, big time. Do you think we'll see Vader?
I think we might at the end.
I wouldn't be surprised. Just because, for better or worse, there is something that will always get the internet a buzz about just that glow of his red lightsaber and the...
I think we might, because let's think. This is going to be a tangent, but we've had... Kenobi had in his series, he had his like final interaction with Anakin gone Vader. They like
you think
summarized their thing. Ahsoka's had hers. The only other person close with Anakin
Skywalker was
Rex.
Oh no, I don't want that because that'd be really sad.
And I think Rex needs to have that like face off, and maybe whatever that is why he like gives up on this whole saving all the clones and goes and just hides on a planet. Maybe it's just like he realizes too much is lost.
Maybe that'll be a really interesting one to see how that one plays out.
Yes.